Welcome to the Ultimate Gaming Room, and this is your host and curator, Jason Dixon, logging on. Today we are diving into one of the most visual stunning and emotional devastating horror games to ever hit the PC and consoles 10 years ago. Or should I say one of the most brilliant horror games of 2016. It's a game that trades jump scares for atmosphere and story for soul. Layers of Fear. Not to get confused with the 2023 game, which is simply titled Layers of Fear, which is actually a third installment and not a remake or a remaster. In this episode, we're talking about the 2016 game that was released on home computers and previous generation consoles. Now, if you were living under a rock, especially 10 years ago, this is a first-person psychological horror game developed by Blooper Team. The premise is simple. You're an alcoholic drug addict painter trying to finish your magnum opus in a massive shifting Victorian mansion. But as you dig deeper into your past, the house starts to change. The memories come flooding back. And you realize how unstable your mind really is. The painter also has a wife and a daughter, but the painter doesn't have a name. So I guess you can call him the painter with no name or the nameless painter. Layers of Fear was set in the UK sometime after World War I. Of course, that's where the Victorian Mansion is in the UK. And the game engine that was used for Layers of Fear was the Unity engine. Which, by first glance of seeing the previews back then, it seems that Blooper Team did nail it properly with the Unity engine. Now let's paint our way into the gameplay here. Layers of Fear is by all means not an action game. It's more of a walking simulator, where your main tool on this journey is observation. Just look all around until you find the right spot. You know, I think I might want to become Rembrandt myself. Nice little picture there, don't you think? You spend the majority of your time walking through corridors, opening doors, and rummaging through drawers to find keys or collectibles. It can be repetitive, it can be slow, but sometimes that's the point. This game forces you to be patient. It wants you to feel the isolation. And not to forget to mention, this game wants to get inside your fucking head. Like it's doing to mine. And it's already driving me crazy. In fact, it's already taken effect on my mind already. With my art, my love, and my life. You know, when it comes to being an artist, sometimes it starts out you're bringing your imagination to life. Unbelievable. It's alive. It's alive. It's alive. Art is alive. But if you go the wrong way with it, it'll also bring your imagination to the dark side. Yeah, for instance, it brings one of my vampire characters I brought into this world that I created on myself when I suffered from vampirism in one of my creations. But at the end of the day, they're just pure imaginations. The atmosphere is absolutely killer. The sound design is incredible. Creaking floorboards, distant whispers, the constant low frequently hum that makes your teeth hurt. Layers of Fear also has unlockables such as rodent pictures, which this game is also infested with rodents, especially during your hallucinations, as well as family mementos.
Yes, speak.
Hello? Yes, speaking. What? What fire? Oh, God. Is she... Which hospital? I'm on my way.
The flickering lights, they were used perfectly. You know when the power is going to go out, and you know exactly what you need to do. Get to the fuse box before the total darkness swallows you whole. In some ways that sounds normal, but for Layers of Fear, I wouldn't worry about no fuse box, because you won't find a fuse box in this game. Oops. That's a spoiler I just gave. In that kind of world that Painter's living in is purgatory, meaning if you walk back out the same door you came in, it's another different room entirely. And everything changes in the game too. Well, to be exactly precise, mainly if you start working on another layer of the magnum opus. That's when the delusions start getting into your head. Now the visuals itself are gorgeous, even if the geometry is a bit wonky. Now this is where the Layers of Fear shines. This is not just a haunted house story. It's a tragedy about a man losing everything. As you explore the mansion, you will find notes, paintings, and furniture that reveal the history of the painter's wife and daughter, as well as the family dog. Layers of Fear messes with your perception of time and reality. You might be in the hallway one moment, and the next, you're in a completely different room that shouldn't exist. It mimics the experience of hallucination. The narrative structure is non-linear, which can be confusing, but it effectively convoys the protagonist's descent into insanity. It's not just about being scared, it's about feeling sad for the guy.
I needed to remove the flesh from the bone. At first, I was lost as to how, but then I sawed it off with a handsaw, boiled it, then put the bone in a mortar. I had to get one, obviously. This was not something I'd done before. Finally, I mixed the dust with some white paint. It made for a lovely undercoat.
The sound design creates a level of immersion that few games can match. It's another one of those type of games like Amnesia, The Dark Descent. And speaking of another series to get into, again, Amnesia is another one I need to get back into. However, there are some downsides of Layers of Fear. The gameplay loop is incredibly repetitive, especially if you try hard to get the proper ending. Which, I actually haven't got the proper ending yet, to be on the fair side. Especially, it can get really monotonous in order to get the proper ending, I believe you'll have to find all the whispering words throughout the walkthrough to get that conclusive ending. So the main verdict is the Layers of Fear worth your time? Especially after 10 years. Does it still hold up? Like I said earlier, this is more of a walking simulator. But it's a walking simulator with a psychological horror surrounding the whole entire concept. And really, if you want a story-driven horror experiences that test your nerves and make your skin crawl at times, then I would say, yes, it is definitely worth your time. Especially after all these years. Layers of Fear is nothing more than a flawed masterpiece of art. It's beautiful, it's terrifying, and it's a bit broken. But that brokenness adds to the charm. It feels like a fever dream. And I'm not done with this art yet, because later that year after the game released, there was an expansion pack titled Inheritance. Layers of Fear Inheritance is a short DLC that shifts the perspective to the painter's daughter, returning to her childhood to face her past. Inheritance is a quick story-driven expansion that aims to flesh out the tragedy of the family. The biggest strength here is the atmosphere and the narrative. The visuals and sound design maintain that chilling psychological horror vibe that Blooper Team does really well. Inheritance offers new insight into the painter's life and his daughter's perspective, giving much needed closure to the main story. And if you're a fan of the base game, then Inheritance DLC gives you details you've been craving. The Inheritance DLC took about an hour to complete, which I don't have a problem with it being that short. In fact, what matters more is the DLC focused more on closing the chapter to the story. And that's what does Layers of Fear proper justice. Now, 2 years later, there was a special edition release on the Nintendo Switch, Layers of Fear Legacy, which features the traditional Nintendo Switch's Joy-Con and touchscreen support along with Rumble feature, and the Legacy edition on the Switch has both the core game and the Inheritance DLC, so it's a complete pack for the Switch. And there is also a VR version of the game, which I need to dig more into that one soon. And there are also 2 follow-ups, but mainly I'm here to focus on the 2016 game. Layers of Fear from 2016 and the Inheritance DLC does stand out for me really well as of today. But something tells me I'm not done with this game. The artwork's not finished. I mean, maybe for this basic review it is. I mean, I still need to get into the VR version to get a different feel for that game. And also play it on the go for the Switch, time to time, just in case if I find something new. Probably won't, but never know. I wouldn't mind doing a story review on this game. Wait a minute, I just remembered what I talked about earlier. I'm not completely done with this artwork because I haven't gotten the conclusive ending for this game. The question is, will I ever be done with it? Is beyond me because of other projects. But in the meantime, I'm concluding this review because the artwork for this episode is done. Oh, and also for my final recommendation, like for any horror games like this, it's definitely better to play at night with your headphones on. That's all I gotta say. Thank you all very much for watching and listening. This is Dixon of the Ultimate Game Room, logging off.